what is going to make this a successful football season for our Michigan State Spartans? And also, hey, what 3 games are we most excited for? And what 3 games are we dreading the most? Oh, yeah, another fun episode with Connor Muldowney. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
My goodness gracious, you are all back, the wonderful listeners and viewers of Locked On Spartans. Hope you're all having a great day, and thank you so much for starting your day with us at the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much. I tweeted out on Tuesday to Mel Tucker, he's the head coach of Michigan State. Hey, would you like to come on for 25 minutes and talk football? If not, if you don't answer, that's fine. I'll just come crawling back to Connor Muldowney. That said, Connor, how you doing, man? You're not Mel Tucker. You're just Connor again. So how you doing? You doing okay?
Yeah. Mel actually DM'd me and asked me if he can come on my show.
Son of a. Well, so, there you go. Yeah, I figured. I mean, you're doing fantastic work, so I would not doubt that he would join your show. Let's just hawk what you're doing right now, man, because you are just as if you couldn't be writing enough content about Michigan State for SpartanAvenue.com. Dude, SpartanShadows.com. You got a new podcast in the works. Go shill what you're doing, man.
So I'm at Spartan Avenue. Been there forever, but new college sports blog network by Ant Wright called the Full Ride Network launched SpartanShadows.com.
Look at that.
And that's kind of my new baby right now. And then eventually, when I get everything settled and get my microphone situation figured out, podcasts are kind of a pain, to try to figure out. We'll be doing a podcast with Eric Snow, so that'll be fun.
Look at you, just flexing on all of us right now. And also, I just want to point out too, for the podcast listeners, obviously the people on YouTube are noticing this right now, but we're no monkey business on this show right now. Both of us wearing collared shirts, both of us wearing backwards hats. This is the attire that we wear for job interviews, weddings, funerals. You are getting our Sunday's best right now. We are wearing the Connor and Matt version of a tuxedo right now. So buckle in for anywhere between 25 to 45 minutes of greatness right here on the show. But before that, hey, just want to ask everyone politely to please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Only if it makes you happy, though. We're here for you guys. If you don't feel like doing any of that, go live your best life. But just strap in for some conversation right here. And Connor, let's kick off the conversation starting with a piece that you had for SpartanShadows.com. How about that? And it's a conversation we really haven't had much this offseason, but holy smokes, as we are less than 25 days away from kickoff, it's a conversation worth having. And the headline of the article, quite simply put, is what's going to make this a successful season for Michigan State? Or more eloquently written by you, what could be considered a successful 2022 season for Michigan State football? And I'm just going to ask you the question right here. Is it a record that we're looking for, or is it just what we see on the field right there? Take it away, Mr. Muldowney.
Well, everybody loves the results. So the record is important. So you could go like 7-5 and have like the best offensive season in school history, but nobody cares. Yeah. Which I can agree with. I wouldn't really care. But I think, following up an 11-win season, Mel Tucker set the bar so stupidly, incredibly high.
It's up there.
That, like, our expectations going into the season are probably a little too high for year 3 of what should have been a massive rebuild. Mm-hmm. So like when I think of how do you follow up a New Year's Six season, you lose arguably the best running back your school has ever had. But you bring back a lot of core pieces. I think that you have to expect like 9+ wins. Like you have to. You have to. And like I'd be okay with 8. I'd be okay with 8-4. Like I would be okay with that. But it's gonna it's gonna be a forgotten season. If it's 8-4, people are gonna be like, eh. If it's 9-3, it's like, okay. And then if they win the 10th game in a bowl game, like it feels like 2017 again.
Yeah, no, right on. And like honestly, I could talk myself into circles about it because look, like an 8-4 season, and it depends who you beat, how you looked in those games, all that good stuff. But an 8-4 season, that could still be considered on schedule. Like, yeah, you really had a high spike there with that 11-win season, but look, that was in year 2 of still a major roster overhaul that we still saw a little bit this season. He went to the transfer portal, did it again, but man, like 8-4, and I know no one wants to hear it right now. I mean, especially Michigan State fans that are, rocking their Peach Bowl t-shirts, off 11 wins. Like, and listen, I'm sure in the moment that I won't be too jazzed about 8-4, considering they just came off 11 wins, but compared to where they were when Mel Tucker took over, like if you said year 3, you're going to be 8-4, you're going to have a recruiting class in the top 20, like that's digestible. I think, right? I mean, isn't it also too what happens off the field? Like if recruiting is still in the top 20, like I hate to already talk about that, but that is a major focus of what Mel is here to do, especially in his first 3 years at Michigan State. So am I talking like a coward already? I don't think I am. I think this is reasonable, which is very like rare for me to do. Like it's just have a rational conversation. But like, I feel like that's fair, or maybe it's not. Maybe I'm
too trying to be reasonable with a fan base that, if Tom Izzo doesn't make a Final Four every year, it's like the worst possible season. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. Like the past 2 seasons have felt like, I mean, it almost feels like we didn't make the tournament, kind of like disappointing.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you're right.
But that's the kind of fan base we are. Like we expect, like if we're presented success, we expect more success. Like we don't but that's kind of what winning programs are built on. Like Alabama doesn't consider, a 10-2 season successful because they've set the bar so high. And we probably set it a little too high too soon, which is not probably the most fair thing, but I think that it'll all even itself out in the end if Tucker is who we think he actually is. So I don't think it's unreasonable what you're expecting.
He did it to himself too. These are self-inflicted wounds on Mel Tucker for, you know what? Winning 11 games last year, that was bad on his part. He should have won a calculated 8-4 just to tamper expectations. But no, okay, so here, let me pose this question because this is a different question than what makes a successful season. What's going to make you happy this season? When you look back, it's January, we'll call it 20th, season's all said and done, dust is settled. When you look back, what's going to put a smile on the face of Connor Muldowney?
I think you got to win. You got to at least split the games against, not split, win 2 out of 3 of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State.
Okay.
Actually, even Ed and Wisconsin there, maybe split those games. Sure. If you split those, I think you're in good shape for a 10-2 year. That's if you don't have like a slip up at Maryland or at Washington. Like the games that like they probably should win handily. There's a few on the schedule that I'm like, man, that screams Purdue. That is like Purdue 2022 version. And it makes me nervous. But I think to make me happy, like 10 regular season wins would make me happy. And then like an 11th win in a bowl game would make me more than happy. Like I would be ecstatic.
Okay. I like that because I'm at 10 wins even with bowl game included. So, and listen, I could be maybe talked into 9-4 if you win, 2 of the Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan gauntlet. Mm-hmm. I mean, but again, maybe I'm just tampering expectations just to soften the blow for myself personally. Now I'm just taking an inside look at my own brain right now. I'm just doing self-therapy. But like, no, I think it's going to have to be 10 wins, like 10-3 for me to be happy, to say like, good job. That was another great season. Let's go do it again in 2023. So, and I don't think that's necessarily unfair. I mean, double-digit wins at the end of the day is very hard to get in college football, especially when you're playing in the Big Ten East and you actually have a legitimate non-conference schedule. And, what I mean by that is that you're actually playing a Power 5 team and you're doing it on the road. I understand the Broncos aren't, the Crimson Tide, and I understand that, the Akron Zips aren't necessarily, the Clemson Tigers, but hey, I mean, you're going on the road to Washington, and that's a lot more than a lot of Power 5 teams in your own conference are already doing.
In your own state.
Okay. Oh, you don't say? Really?
I wasn't
right.
So my thing is, I don't even think this is a hot take. I think this is a pretty widely agreed upon statement, but this year's team is way more talented than last year's
Right.
team. Like there's so much more depth at the positions. Like you can look even at the defensive backfield. Like the defensive backfield last year was we kind of expected it to be good because we had like a transfer from Alabama and a transfer from Florida. And we're just like, oh, we're an SEC team now.
Right.
But,
Yep.
but we like everybody was like kind of a letdown except for Xavier Henderson and Charles Brantley. And Brantley only played half the year, and Henderson was like doing everything on his own. But I think this year, like the added depth to the defensive backfield, the incoming freshmen in the defensive backfield are all three of them that like I like Coley, I like Mangum, and I like Tatum. I think all three of those guys could like push for playing time. Like they honestly could. Yeah. And like the linebackers, arguably top 2 or 3 in the Big Ten. Defensive line, top 2 or 3 in the Big Ten. Like the defense is going to improve. Like there's zero doubt about that. And the offense, I don't see a drop off. I'm a Jarek Broussard like believer.
You're on the train. You're the conductor of the Jarek.
I'm leading the train. I'm leading it. Like I am like under the impression. This is probably so diluted, but I'm under the impression that Jarek Broussard is just Kenneth Walker 2.0.
You know what? We're ending this segment on that note right there. Forget everything that I just said in the last 10 minutes. For that to be a successful season, 11 wins is the basement of what I need right now. After hearing all that, and honestly, I'm just gonna make a quick snippet right here. What we're hearing out of camp about these linebackers, especially Jacoby Windman and Aaron Brule, like, wow. Like, listen, we were all excited going into the offseason, but like hearing the chatter, inside the football building, whether it be off the record whispers that we're hearing, or just guys in front of the media, right, saying it, like there's some nice things to be heard about Jacoby Windman and Aaron Brule. And that's not even keeping in mind the guys returning to the linebacker room. So I just had to shout those guys out right there before, Connor, I start talking about Built Bar. That's right. Connor, whenever you're on this show, I always fumble my way through ad reads. So you're going to stay on camera for this one to be my chaperone. Connor, I'm sure I've talked your ear off about Built Bar many a times. We're talking about Built Bars, the Built Puffs. They got Built granola bars. They got Built everything. What's your favorite like candy bar flavor, if you will, Connor?
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream? Well, Connor, you're in luck, you son of a gun, because they got cookies and cream Built Bars. They absolutely positively slap. Everything in the Built lineup tastes better than a candy bar. They want us to say on the ad read, hey, say it tastes just like a candy bar. No, because I'd be lying to you if I read that. It's better than a candy bar, especially the Built Puffs. I had a Built Puff birthday cake flavor the other day. Connor, I almost started crying. That's how good it tastes. It is amazing. And also, it will have your wallet saying thank you too. Not just your body, giving it all the protein, the low carbs, the low sugar. Not just your taste buds giving you the amazing taste. But Connor, are you listening to me? They're going to give your wallet something to smile about as well. Because when you go to Built.com, hey, what are you laughing for? This is serious business, Connor. When you go to Built.com, you're going to smash in promo code LOCKED15. And that's going to save you 15% off of your order of all the Built products. Stock up for the season. When you stumble into the stadium after a tailgate, power yourself up with a Built Bar. That's going to get you through all 4 quarters of Spartan football. And when you do it on Built.com with promo code LOCK15, you're going to save 15% off at Built.com. Let's go.
You got to stop talking me at 3 a.m. about Built Bar. You got to stop.
I care about you, Connor. And as I stare up at the ceiling at 3 a.m, and I'm like going through all the problems and issues that, any of us could be having, the top of my list is like, Connor needs nourishment right now. He needs to get on Built.com and smash in promo code LOCK15. So with that said, Connor, we have 2 topics for the rest of the show. We have games we are looking forward to the most, and we have games that we are dreading the most. You know what? You're the guest here. What do you want to do first? Do you want to do games we're looking forward to the most or games we're dreading the most?
Let's get the bad one out of the way. Let's do dreading.
Okay. All right. Let me pull through different graphics then. 3 games we are dreading the most. I like that because we can end this show sending people off on a high note, because right now, Connor, we're each going to give 3 games that we are each dreading the most for the 2022 Michigan State football season. We'll start at 3, and then we'll work our way up to 1. Do you have them written down in front of you, or would you like me to dance first coming up?
I mean, I was just going to do it off the top of my head because I'm built very different.
Built hella different. Look at you, man. So I have the attention span of a goldfish, so I have to write everything down. that I do. I have to set a reminder just to wake up in the morning. So with that said, I will kick the party off. Number 3 game I'm dreading the most. It's the Ohio State game. Look, I don't know how we can just look at last year. What was the score at halftime? 89-0. And just listen, it's great. It's gonna be a home game. I'm sure campus will be buzzing. It's gonna be a fun time, but also like I remember last year. So with that said, like I'm not necessarily jazzed about that game. So that's why it makes my top 3 of games that I'm dreading the most. Do you have the Buckeyes on your top 3, or are you?
They would be number 1. They would be number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no game on the schedule that I dread more than Ohio State.
Okay. That's
easily.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'll just read off number 2 then right here, because I got 2 games that I'm even dreading more so. Number 2, and listeners or viewers of this pod have maybe heard me talk about this game before, but it is the week after a emotional, passionate game against the Michigan Wolverines. It is in Champaign, Illinois. We don't know the kickoff time for this game yet, but if there's ever been a game that screams 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN2, it is Spartans versus Illini. Coming down from that emotional game the week prior against a Illinois team that really, honestly, like who knows anything about these guys? They could snap up and bite you. It's going to be a flaccid atmosphere. It is going to be lifeless. There will be 45 people in attendance. How can Michigan State get up for that game? Can Illinois possibly see them in their sights? Like, oh yeah, there's blood in the water. These guys are not focused for this game. So number 2 game that I'm dreading is that Saturday noon game, probably against the Fighting Brett Bielema's of Illinois. Can you soothe me for this game, or are you in the same boat that I'm in of just agony and despair for Spartans, Illini, first week in November?
I mean, it's Illinois. I mean, I guess that's the only thing I could do. It's Illinois.
I do know how ridiculous this sounds. I know.
And Champaign is not. I mean, last time I went to Champaign for a game a few years ago, or like a long time ago, more than a few years ago. But I mean, the atmosphere is not great. So like there's not really much of a home field atmosphere. It's like a glorified Northwestern trip. There are a lot of state fans. Illinois has a lot of Michigan State people.
Okay, gotcha.
But it depends on how good they are. If they're bad, it's going to be state fans. If they have a winning record with the potential to make a bowl, it might be tough. So I'm under the. I think this. I don't know.
It'll be November, so like ideally they'll be like 3-5 by then. You have to think that they're going to not have the greatest of attitude, and they're non-conference too. Like, look, that they have Wyoming, that's a spicy game. Virginia, and then Chattanooga. Like, they could lose to Virginia very easily. So you're not getting a lot of easy wins there in the non-conference if you're Illinois. They could be going into that game with just 2 or 3 wins. So hopefully the fan base is already looking forward to basketball season. So yeah, hopefully instead of 45 fans, maybe it's just a smooth 38 fans in the crowd there. But still, it's just like, where do you get the energy from? I know. It's a limp atmosphere out there, Connor. If I could just, paint that picture like that, if you will. Sorry if you guys have kids in the car and you have to explain what those words mean, but listen, that's just the best I could do here. That's as good as it gets. Connor, I'm just going to name my number 1 dreadful game, and then we can go through your 3 after, because I just need to talk myself off the ledge here of Michigan State going down to College Park to play the Fighting Turtles of Maryland. Listen, I'm going to sound like a broken record or a broken record player, whatever the analogy is. I don't know. I have people correct me on that all the time. Regardless, I'm deflecting because I don't want to talk about this game, but here I go. Maryland is an awesome team to play in November when they are mentally checked out of the season. Without fail, you can always count on Maryland to stop caring in November. We get Maryland very early in the season when they're still trying, when they still believe in themselves. And they have reason to believe in themselves this year because that offense is a good offense. Last year, the game I was dreading the most was the Western Kentucky game because what an offense that those Hilltoppers had. When Michigan State went into halftime with 42 points, I was celebrating that like I celebrated the final touchdown against Penn State last year. I hated that game for everything, but it was a race to first to get 40, and this is going to be the same thing, I think. First team to get 40, but it's on the road. Maryland's still going to believe in themselves, and like I'm going to hate every minute of that game this year. That's what I got. So that's my number. You have a rational one. Your number one is Ohio State, the Buckeyes. Mine is just the Terrapins down in Maryland. So
that's fair though. Maryland is like that dude in fantasy football who like tries so hard for the first few weeks, and then when he starts losing games, he just like doesn't check his lineup anymore.
That's 100% it. Yeah. Wow.
It's Maryland. But like that's right. Like that's still in their trying phase. Like he's still leaning forward, like playing video games at the screen. But
I know.
Yeah.
Their schedule. I'm trying to pull up their schedule right now. If my internet would cooperate, it's
they're gonna be a crisp 4-0. I bet you.
I know it's not going to look good. Now, with that said, they are coming off of a road game at Michigan, so like we do have that for us. But before that, they play Buffalo. Okay, they could win that. For some reason, they're playing at Charlotte. I don't know how that arrangement got made, but okay, good for you. And then SMU. So like they could be going into that game either 3-1.
SMU though.
I know, spicy. So like we need SMU. God, I'm going to be watching that Maryland SMU game like a passionate Mustangs fan because I know that they could put a bullet in their morale immediately in week 1, and like that would just bring a Cheshire cat smile to my face. Yeah, so go Mustangs. Is 3 games that you're dreading the most? What? Obviously, Ohio State number 1. Who's 2 and 3 for you?
That's tough.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I would have to say 3 is probably Washington, just because like
okay, wow.
Just because like if we lose to Washington right there, like my confidence is just gone. Like I'm just Well, not only will we hear it from Michigan fans like, oh, you can't even beat Washington, dude. Like that whole thing is a whole different beast. But like Washington is just first year of a new coach.
Yep.
But Michael Penix.
I know.
There.
Or like Sam
like
Heward.
Tonight.
I know.
So I'd say Washington is probably 3rd, just because like they're so poo-poo, but like they're gonna like put up a crazy fight. I just have a feeling.
And it's on the road. The last time we had a road game, like in the Pacific time zone, the Arizona State game, or maybe that was Mountain time zone. Regardless, west of the Mississippi, didn't go well. So I think that sticks with a lot of MSU fans too, is that like that Arizona State game went horrible. Granted, it's about 30 degrees hotter there than it will be in Seattle, but like I think we all have like ghosts from that game that we're all worried about going out west for a true road game.
Arizona State's just dead to me in general. Like everything about that school.
Fair. That's fair. Tough, but fair.
And in order to not say any of the same ones as you,
okay,
I would like agree with you on either Illinois or Maryland. Like both of those, I'm not looking forward to either of those. Let me put that out there. Like those would be top 5. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go with. I mean, I'm just dreading like the lead up to the Michigan game. That's not even like Michigan game. I'm not counting the Michigan game. Like obviously, I'm looking forward to that game, but the whole like this offseason is just like. My brain.
Both teams have a bye week too before that. This is gonna be 2 weeks of nonsense on the internet. So get ready for that, everyone. That's gonna be, and I will be participating. I'm gonna be part of the problem. Yes. Make no mistake there. But yeah, like I don't have that on my most dreadful games or my most exciting games. Like that's not the top 3 for both of them because, look, my
stomach is just like.
It's like of the calendar year, like that is the 365th best day of the year for me. Like I become the worst version of myself. I hate who I am. I feel physically ill the entire day. So like, yeah, it's a fun game and everything like that. But like I'm a physically ill person that entire 24 hours. So
that's fair.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, if you're a healthy individual, like a sane adult, like yeah, that's probably in everyone's top 3. But like I'm not, so that's not in my top 3.
I'm gonna go Wisconsin at number 2. I'm gonna go Wisconsin at number 2, just because like as much as I can't stomach like a Michigan game day, like just the whole thought of that, like I'm already anxious about it. Like I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Can we move on from that?
Yep.
Wisconsin, just talking to myself. The Wisconsin game, like I can't even stomach like a 10-7 like just ugly like Wisconsin type of game where like we don't even know if we're gonna score again. Like kind of like how the Indiana game felt last year was like, like what's a touchdown? Like I know we scored like 50 the week before, but what are we doing? Like how do we do this? What like the whole thing? We're gonna need some like miracle Peyton Thorne reverse pass catch from Malik Carr to win the game or some garbage like that. And I'm not prepared for it because Wisconsin always has our number for some reason. But that's the game. Like Wisconsin's not as good as MSU, in my opinion. my unbiased opinion, but that game just like I could just see it going the way that the one in 2016 went, where we lose that one and then like the season just goes, you know.
Let's change the tone here. Now that we got everyone in a horrendous mood about 5 or 6 different games on the calendar, let's do the 3 games we're looking forward to the most. Let's try to send everyone out for the rest of this day on Thursday or Friday or Saturday, whatever day they're listening to this podcast, on a high note. Connor, do you want to dance first and bang out the first 3 games, or the top 3 games, I should say, that you're looking forward to the most for the 2022 Michigan State football season?
All right, let's go. 3 would be Rutgers. Because
Okay,
I feel like Rutgers is always like a morale booster. Like usually.
I like that. Yeah.
When State is good, like Rutgers, we could be coming off, like potentially 4 or 5 straight losses.
Wait, no. The negativity was for last segment, Connor. Nope. We're talking positive now.
We could be coming off a loss within the past month.
There we go. Thank you. Yep.
And Rutgers is just sitting there, like waiting for us to just like give him a good old like whooping. And I don't know. It's just something about like a November Rutgers game just like really gets me like
at home. Yeah.
All at home. It's just like thank you. Like whoever scheduled this, like thank you. We'll get you next time.
Rutgers is, they're always on the schedule and always on time. Like it is except, that one COVID year. But hey, you know what? We had to lose that game to really know where this program was at. Exactly. That was a calculated loss by Mel Tucker back then.
Yeah, that was a loss.
Yeah. Let me show you, the fan base, how bad this team truly is and how much I really need to overhaul this roster so no one questions me when I go backstroking in the transfer portal the next 2 seasons. So, yeah, that's a calculated loss on Mel's part. God, what a genius. Look at him go.
Can anyone name a Rutgers quarterback from the past, 10 years? Like, I couldn't, Giovanni Rosigno, or I honestly don't.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, sure.
Do they have a quarterback this year? I don't know. I have no idea.
Noah Vedral back for his 14th year. I don't know. That's all I got. Is he still there? I don't
think. I think they have a 4-star quarterback coming in. Gavin Wimsatt. Either way, their quarterback has never been good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Number 2 game that you're looking forward to the most. Rutgers at 3. Good for the Scarlet Knights to get on the board. Yeah. That's good on them. Nice.
Number 2. I feel like this is gonna sound weird. This might sound weird. You're gonna think I'm weird. I'm gonna go at Penn State because I feel like a season-ending Penn State game, especially if we're having a good year, is almost like we're playing with house money at that point.
That's true. I like that.
And if we win on the road at Penn State, I mean, we could be playing for a Big Ten title. We could be playing for a New Year's Six bowl. I feel like Penn State is such a good matchup for Michigan State every year.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been 1 or 2 years where it's just been totally mismatched in Penn State's favor. And I don't think that'll happen this year. And I think that'll be a statement game possibly. And I'm looking forward to that one.
You talked me into it that quickly. Yeah. Cause it'll be like last year, you're fighting for, that 10th win, that illustrious New Year's Six bowl bid essentially, which is what it was last year. So Connor, without further ado, give me that number 1 game you're looking forward to the most. Let's go.
Oh man. I've trashed 8 other games on the schedule. So I kind of have a limited.
Is it Akron? Is it the Akron Joe Moorhead and the Akron Zips?
That'll be a heck of a but going into the fourth quarter it'll probably be 17-10 and all.
Without fail. Yep. Yep.
I would say Western just because I'm not going to say Western. I don't
hate that though. Yeah. Okay.
But I am looking forward to it just because it's the first game of the year and I want football back. I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Oh, I like.
I don't need these rankings. They might not be in order. Don't take the number 1. Just forget the numbers here. Minnesota because, let's say we start 3-0, we beat a bad Washington team. I think is a bad Washington team. Say we're 3-0. That's Minnesota might be ranked. That might be our first true test. We'll finally figure out it's kind of like the Miami game last year. We knew how good we were after the Miami game. And I think that's what the Minnesota game is going to be. If we beat them handily, I think that we're good to go.
I like that. It's a litmus test to see how Michigan State's going to be. At home, it's going to be an electric atmosphere because Minnesota could very well be unbeaten in that game as well. Conference opener, especially if you're going to be at Spartan Stadium. Even if you're not, the vibes are still going to be great. But yeah, on East Lansing soil, that's going to be an electric game. And it's obviously a game Michigan State can win, too. I'm not going to etch it in stone that, automatic victory coming week 4. But, no, it's going to be good vibes all around. So, no, I love that for number 1. Really quick, I'll go through my 3. So number 3 on my most dreaded list was Ohio State. So number 3 for games I'm most excited for is the Ohio State game also, because it's going to be I talked about the atmosphere for the Minnesota game just now. Campus is going to be buzzing for that game against the Buckeyes. And look, I'm in off-season delusion mode. I can be talked into that Michigan State can be a spicy underdog in that game because, look, that's week 5. That's Ohio State's first road game of the season. I don't know how it's even possible or federally legal for a college football team to have their first road game in October. That is banana land, first of all. So, maybe Ohio State is off kilter. Maybe they're going to be shook by the raucous atmosphere that Spartan Stadium has to offer. So, yeah, I'm dreading that game because of the scars from last year, but also, wow, campus is going to be fun. And if it's a good game, Connor, that could be one for the ages. Number 2, I'm actually going to steal off your dread. Sorry, go ahead.
Surely Ohio State's not the only Big Ten East team to not have a road game throughout the first month of the season, correct?
No, they got to be the only team, especially in the Big Ten East, to have 8 home games too. I don't think we even need to research that whatsoever. That's canon. It's impossible. Almost commonly to have 8 home games. That's well, at least if you're going to have 8 home games, you're going to have good teams come in, Notre Dame. If you're going to have 8 home games and just have Mickey Mouse teams, what's that really saying about you as an athletic department? And then also too, you as a person for even rooting for that team. Let's just get on the right side of history there first and foremost. If you think I'm being too dramatic, I don't think I'm being dramatic enough, if you ask me. Number 2 game I'm most excited for is I'm gonna steal off your dreaded list. I'm kind of excited for this Washington game, and I'm not. I know I see the look on your face, and I understand it. Listen, I could be talked into it being dreadful or excitement, but right now, as we're sitting here in the middle of August, I'm excited for this game. I'm not even going to the game. I can only imagine how thrilling this must be for all the traveling Spartans or the West Coast Spartans to have a close game. That's got it. What an atmosphere that is going to be. That's going to be so cool and awesome. But ABC, primetime slot, this is a great litmus test to see what we have in store for the rest of the year. Against, look, I don't think Washington's all that good either. But, new head coach, they do have Michael Penix or their other 5-star quarterback, Sam Heward, if I'm ever saying his name right. So, yeah, and it is a road game, so it is a good test. So I am looking forward to that. Also, I will be camping that weekend, and I will be about 40,000 beers deep. So, I'm going to be in a great mood regardless until it's 16-3 going into halftime in Seattle. But regardless, I'm just excited for that night. That'll be a really fun night.
I think you talked yourself into dreading it a little bit at the end there.
I'm going to deflect off that. I'm going to act like I didn't say that, and I'm just going to move on to number 1 right now. Because, I'm just going to just sweep that aside because you might not be wrong. No. I'm looking forward to it. Week 3, that's going to be a fun time. Yeah. 7 o'clock, ABC, primetime game, all eyes on the Spartans. It's going to be beautiful.
30,000 beers deep. Oh.
It's going to be sensational. Yeah, sing to me.
Let's go. By the way, what a crime that is.
I know. What are you going to do, though? What are you going to do? Number 1, actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to steal off your dreaded list, I think, for my number 1 game. I'm thrilled for the Wisconsin game at home. I am. I think that they're a great fan base. And listen, if you're not a Wisconsin fan, you might as well just turn this off right now because I'm going to wax poetically. I've never had a bad run with Wisconsin fans. I think that they are our brethren in the Big Ten West. I feel like that we are cousins with one another as far as vibes go, as far as tradition goes, all that good stuff. But also, this will be the week after Ohio State. This could be a good spot for either a bounce back win, but if we're going to keep the positive vibes, keeping the momentum going from last week, East Lansing is going to be electric back-to-back weekends. Ohio State, Wisconsin back-to-back, and also too, it's going to be a great spot for potentially a top 25 matchup. So I think that's going to be a really fun game. Michigan State did pretty well in their crossover matchups. You know, I think it's a fair shake. You got Minnesota. Okay, it's doable. And then you also got Wisconsin. Okay, you take that. Oh, and of course, Illinois. Sorry. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. So that's where I'm just going to leave it at right there. Sorry. But Wisconsin is probably the number one game I'm looking forward to the most, Connor.
You're a better man than me, I guess. Oh,
is that all it takes? Wow. All right. Cool. Not bad. Hell yeah.
Yes, that is actually the requirement. You just have to look forward to the Wisconsin game. But you're dreading the Illinois game, so that makes you a worse man than me.
Yeah, I'm a weird guy. I'm just it's a weird brain in between these ears. So yeah, I hope that made sense to at least some people listening. I'm sure a lot of people sided with you more than they did with me, but that's why we drag you here when Mel Tucker's not available on this podcast, Connor. So
I have a guest segment for you. You weren't prepared for this. This is kind of like a fun one. I just thought of it yesterday after I was looking at some mind-numbing tweets. I want you to name your 3 most disliked non-Michigan fan bases.
Oh, wow. Off the top of the head?
Off the top of the head.
Oh, boy.
Or delusional, or just
No, I'm going to go dislike because delusion. Look, I think Nebraska's a little delusional, but I do like them. You know, something happened last 3 years where I've really turned on them. I do like their passion, and the people I've talked to, some of them are very reasonable people, but by and large, do they all think it's 1982 still? Yes, but they're nice about it. I don't know. So I'm going to have to go with, and I'm going to pull some basketball in here too. I'm really not thrilled with Illinois fans ever. So Illinois makes the list. Tennessee has been feeling themselves way too much lately for no good reason. Yeah. So and it's not like Nebraska where they're delusional, but hey, they're friendly about it. No, they think they have a Final Four banner somewhere in that gym where they have 0, and they think that they've won more than 9 games any time in the last 18 years. I swear to God, you would have thought Peyton Manning played for that school 4 years ago when he talked to a volunteer fan. So Tennessee squarely makes the top of the list. They might be number 1, oddly enough. And number 3, I don't know. Give me Purdue fans, I guess, just because basketball. That's it. So Illinois, Tennessee, Purdue. How about that for a murderer's row of fan bases I don't like? Subject to change. I could change that opinion. Oh, Colorado too. You get on the board too. Weirdos over there. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta go. Pitt. Pitt fans are so unbelievably
they need a reality check. All right, please.
It's actually unbelievable how much trash they talk to a team that beat them less than 8 months ago. I don't even know what day it is. I don't know. Less than 9 months ago.
Yeah, we'll call it 9. Yeah.
So because they kept the game close, they are a better program. They are more relevant. Their basketball program is also relevant, even though I couldn't name you one single Pitt basketball player over the past decade. Couldn't name you one. Not one. Have they made the tournament? I have no idea.
I got nothing for you. Cassius Winston almost went there, apparently. So that's there. That's the only Pitt basketball player I can name. Say what?
Did you hear that he got into Harvard, too?
Cassius Winston?
Yeah,
they never talk about that. Wow.
Fun fact. Fun, little-known fact. Yeah.
I'm going to tell some people that. Huh, that's cool. All right, nice.
But I would agree. I would agree with the Purdue and or Illinois.
Yeah, and or is fair. Yeah,
Purdue basketball fans are awful. Illinois basketball fans are awful. I don't know about football. I have no idea. No.
I'm sure they're great at football, right? I mean, I can't imagine anyone just mother effing you, in a parking lot before a game. I'm sure they're very down to earth about their football team. But yeah, when basketball rolls around, let's just try to make a second weekend before we start anointing Brett Underwood and your team the next D. Gordon era Illini. All right, please just relax for a hot second. I'm begging you.
3 fan bases that just don't know what a Final Four is: Purdue, Illinois, Tennessee.
No, hold on. No, Purdue had to have. They got to face the Peacocks in the Sweet 16 last year. Surely they made a Final Four. It was a paved road for them.
It was a
New Orleans.
For the mighty Boilermakers that were absolutely loaded, should have blown St. Peter's Peacocks out of the water. But you wouldn't believe if I told you they did not win that game.
No, I know. I'm laughing because I'm outing myself right now because in my bracket I had Purdue winning the whole thing, so I'm outing myself as an idiot because I was one of those people that really believed in them, and then when the second half started and it was very clear that they were not going to make the adjustments proper to beat the Peacocks, I was like, I'm such a dunce. So am I projecting my idiocy or on them? Yeah, I am, but whatever.
You don't have to choose teams based on who has the tallest player on the floor. You know that, right?
I don't know that, actually. I believed in Jaden Ivey, too. But, of course, I thought Matt Painter would run the offense through him for the first time after 30 games have happened. I didn't look at the sample size of 30 straight games and realize, Jaden Ivey's merely a role player in this offense for Purdue. But, listen, I'm an idiot, Connor. I fell right into the trap, even though 30 games of sample size to tell me that I shouldn't.
You thought Matt Painter suddenly learned how to coach in the NCAA tournament?
I did, Connor. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Yeah.
That's all right. I understand.
It's not all right. But
no, it's okay. We'll move on. We'll end on a happy note.
Okay.
I got nothing. You're not an idiot.
You think people are still listening or watching? Give me here. We'll do this again. Give me a random word for people to tweet at us or email us at lockonspartans@gmail.com to let us know that they're still listening. Give us a random word.
How about like a string of words?
Okay.
Derek, the Tennessee fan.
Wow. Okay. That Derek. Tweet at us, Sheehan_sports, at Connor Muldowney, Derek, the Tennessee fan, and you're not going to get much. I'll like the tweet. I might retweet it, but you're going to get the undying appreciation from me, which is a monetary value of like roughly 7 cents. But I know, you know what? No, I shouldn't joke about it. I love every single person that listens, especially in minute number 41 of a podcast or YouTube show. You guys are truly the best. This always happens with Connor. It's always like, hey, can you talk for 25, 30 minutes? And then here we are just blowing right by the 30-minute stop sign. But here we go, because this is what you get with Connor Muldowney. You just get good vibes, greatness, a handsome face if you're watching on YouTube, let's keep in mind, but also a wonderful voice as well. And great words written on SpartanShadows.com, SpartanAvenue.com, and soon to be a competing podcast. Ooh, there we go.
I'll just fold it up now. I don't even want to compete.
Oh, no, come on. I was looking forward to it. Oh, man. Shoot. Well, sorry, Eric Snow.
You're out.
Folded like a $4 lawn chair. Oh, well, what are you going to do? All right. Now, on a real note, Connor, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for listening, watching. On tomorrow's show, we got a fun one because tomorrow is 1,000 days since Michigan football has beaten Michigan State. So we got Maddie May on the podcast. We're going to have a hoot and a half. We'll also talk about, just Michigan State football, how we're feeling for the upcoming season. A fun Friday show coming up for you guys. But until then, stay awesome. I love you all. Go green.
Go white.